Hi, I'm Kelly with citruscycles.ca. This is the Bosch 650 Plus EFS3. Now, Bosch uses very long but descriptive names for their e-bikes. For the detailed specs on the bike, for current pricing, to set up an appointment to try it here in Ladysmith or take advantage of our Try at Home program, we'll bring it to you anywhere on Vancouver Island or the Lower Mainland. Head over to our website at citruscycles.ca. If you have any questions after the video, or if I've missed anything, you can find our contact information there as well. So as I mentioned, Bosch uses descriptive names for the bike. Bosch, of course, is the German company that has designed the bike. The bike itself is made in Vietnam, and they do that partly just to keep the price at that lower price point. So the Bosch bikes are really great values. They are well designed, good quality components, and a really very good price. And the Bosch 650 Plus EFS3 tells you that there's 650 plus tires, so that is 27.5 plus. So instead of the normal maybe 2.2 inch tires you would find on a mountain bike, these are actually 2.8 inch wide tires. So that's the 27.5 plus format for 650 plus. The E, of course, tells you that it's an electric bike. It is a Bosch Performance Line CX powered bike and has the Bosch 500 watt-hour power pack on there. FS tells you that it's a full suspension, and we actually have 150 millimeters of travel, which they proudly advertise here on the bike, and that's with the RockShox RT Deluxe in the rear and a RockShox Yari up front with loads of travel. The 3 tells you that this is their top-end bike, so we also have on our website the FS2, which gives you more mid-grade components. So for example, this has the 11-speed cassette on the back here. With the 2, to save money, they're going to go with the 10, and they're going to do a few other compromises on the 2 to bring the price down. It'll likely bring the weight up and the longevity down a little bit, but it also brings the price down. With the FS3, they're putting the top quality components right across the bike. So I'm going to step you through some of the features of the bike. Really, the standout feature to me, it's a very nice looking bike. If you like orange, it's beautiful. The orange and blue colors go well together. But really what I love about this is the orientation of the Bosch Mid Drive. So I love having the Performance Line CX on here, and what Bosch has done is they've really integrated it well into the design of the frame and tilted it up here onto a 60-degree angle. The other really great thing that they've done is they've included an aluminum bash guard. So that actually is going to protect the drive system, and by angling it up here, they've really allowed for a lot of bottom bracket height, some good clearance. So this is a bike you really can go hardcore on. You can do a lot of trail riding, and with that amount of travel and the clearance there, you're going to be all right. So that's one of my favorite features of this bike, is kind of that motor orientation there. So while I'm talking about the Bosch motor, I'll quickly run you through that, and then we can look at some of the other components of the bike. So the Performance Line CX, this is Bosch's top-end drive system. It has the most amount of torque. It's mountain bike specific, and it gives you a lot of assistance in the higher 2 levels of assistance. It also takes advantage of Bosch's e-mountain bike mode, which is a new mode that is available. And so if I come up to the Intuvia display here, which is removable by the way, so if you are using this bike maybe as a commuter bike, use it to get groceries or to get to work, you can take the display off, and of course then the assistance won't work on the bike, and you can though still use the trip computer and that sort of thing while the display is off the bike. So that's a cool feature. So on the display here you can see our battery level, the current speed, the level of assistance, and then there's a trip computer down here that you can cycle through on the display or on the remote over here. And so I can cycle through things like the odometer, the trip distance, the clock, the maximum speed, the average speed, the trip time, and my favorite feature, the range. And the range is dynamically calculated based on the level of assistance and the remaining charge of the battery here. So you can see we've only got 4 out of 5 bars, which, you know, tells you some information, but it's probably more useful to know exactly how much further you can go. So with the range feature here, if I move the level up to Eco, you can see I've got 82 kilometers left. If I move it up to Tour, I've got 42 kilometers. Now you'll notice when I move it up to the next level of assistance, simply by pressing the plus on the remote here, flashes eMTB. That tells me we're now in the dynamic e-mountain bike mode that allows you to flow uphill, so that when you're riding uphill, it's as much fun as downhill. What happens is the Bosch CX system has a torque sensor built into the bottom bracket here. It has a speed sensor that senses how fast the bike is moving, and it also measures your cadence, that is how quickly your legs are moving, 1,000 times per second. So it really is like it's reading your mind, it knows what's going on, and so in this e-mountain bike mode, if you're climbing a hill, boost it up to turbo for you. If you're cruising along on flats, it may move it down to tour for you because you don't need as much assistance, and that helps extend your battery life. So that's one of the really great features about the e-mountain bike mode, is you're no longer having to press the plus and minus button. You can just leave it in, automatically, dynamically adjusts the level of assistance for you. So Bosch has done a great job. The weight distribution is low and in the middle of the bike, so it makes it a really very agile bike. Riding it is a lot of fun. Certainly they've tuned the suspension really well for the weight of the bike, and it works really well. It's really easy to manage this bike. With the mid-drive, of course, you are driving the chain, and so that means when you change one of these 11 gears on the back here with the Shimano Dior XT, we do have the Shadow Plus clutch here, so that kind of tightens things up, prevents the chain slap, makes shifts maybe a little snappier, but of course you can turn that off as well. You may want to throw a chain guard on, or a chain stay protector while I'm thinking of it. They've got a little kind of a plastic clear one here, but over time that might get marked up, so you might want to put something Velcro on there. Anyways, with the mid-drive, it is turning your chain, so when you change gears, it is impacting on the drive system, and the Bosch system itself has a lot of torque. When you combine that with the fact that your transmission is impacting on the motor, on the drive system, you can really climb virtually any hill. While I'm down here, I'll point out we've got a nice aluminum bash guard here as well to protect the chain, which is great. So you've also got the Bosch Power Pack 500. You can remove this from the battery or from the bike to charge it, or there's a charging flap on the other side of the bike that allows you to charge the battery while it is on the bike. The great thing about Bosch batteries is they are standardized. So this isn't a Bulls battery, this is a Bosch battery. So you're not reliant on Bulls 5 years from now to have the same battery. Bosch will. Bosch has got you. They generally have a 10-year parts commitment. So you'll be able to get this battery a number of years from now if you wish to replace it. And in fact, Bosch even made their batteries backwards compatible. So last year, most of the Bulls bikes, for example, had the 400 watt-hour battery. Bosch came out with a 500 and made it backwards compatible, so you could actually take the 400 off, put a 500 on, or vice versa, and it works. So that's the great thing about the Bosch system. A lot of things to like about that. Then Bulls really, pulled everything together to make this a really fun bike to ride. Like I said, we've got the RockShox. It's an air fork, RT Deluxe. Lots of travel on here. We've got a 3-position selector as well to lock it out. We've got a compression selector on the front here for the RockShox Yari. We've got a through axle, which gives you lots of stability. It is the Boost standard on the hubs here, so it gives you a wider, stiffer, stronger hub and wheel assembly. I've got 35mm rims here to support these 2.8-inch Schwalbe Rocket Ron tires. There we go. Upside down. How's that? Rocket Ron. They are the performance line. We've got some degree of puncture resistance in here. You could set them up as tubeless as well. If you have the tubes in, you can run them as low as 17 psi. That's going to give you loads of traction. Really, these plus-size tires are a great format to use on a full suspension e-bike. The wider tires are going to give you more traction, more stability. You're going to be able to climb almost any hill, and you're not going to lose out too much on rolling resistance because you have the assistance from the drive unit, from the Bosch Mid Drive there, to really help you climb up anything. Now, I always tell people, when you're buying a bike, when you're trying it out, the saddle, the pedals, and the grips are easy to change, so don't worry about those. But they've done a good job here. They've actually got these kind of ergo grips, which I'm really liking. I'm not used to that on a mountain bike, but they're quite comfortable. I would change out the pedals myself, but they did actually include pedals, which is a plus. A lot of bike manufacturers now are just you know, giving up and saying, you know what, nobody likes the pedals, we include it because everybody's got personal preference. Let's just not include pedals, but we do have some. I would probably change them out myself. The saddle isn't bad. It's got some bit of gel in here. It's fairly stiff though, narrow, which is what you would expect on a full suspension mountain bike. Of course, you could easily change that out as well, but I do like the 2-bolt system here for making adjustments on it, which is good. Anything else that I should point out about the bike? They've just, you know, chosen some good quality components and put them together, and they work well. We do have a visual indicator here for the gears. Sometimes I'm asked about that. Some bikes have it, some don't. This is the Dior XT shifters up here. And I know what I totally forgot to talk about was the brakes. So we've got Magura MT5s on the front here. Those are actually dual piston. So loads and loads of stopping power up front, which is where you want the stopping power. The majority of your stopping power actually is in your front wheel. And on the back we have the Magura MT4s, which is just a single piston setup, but again, more than adequate on the rear wheel. Of course, it is hydraulic from Magura, so stopping power isn't a problem. You're not relying on your own force or mechanical ability to stop the bike. You're relying on that hydraulic action, so it makes it really easy to stop. All in all, a very attractive bike, lots of fun to ride, some good quality components combined together to make it an awesome ride. For more information, head over to our website at citruscycles.ca. Starting out on pavement here, and this would actually make a very comfortable commuter bike. Do have the ergo grips here, which are quite comfortable, and although it's a fairly forward riding position, I'm not as hunched over as sometimes you are in a mountain bike. So I still have lots of control over the bike, so forward like you'd want to be to get the control that you need, but at the same time I'm not really leaning over. So I do have a lot of awareness of traffic and that sort of thing. It's still fairly comfortable. So I'm in e-mountain bike mode right now. And I really like that mode. It automatically is switching to the level of assistance that I need. So when I'm climbing the hill here, you just naturally pedal harder to go up a hill. And that moves you up in the turbo. The situation where you may not want to use e-mountain bike mode is if I say wanted to really power up this hill but don't want to have to pedal really hard. If I put it into turbo, you can see I do get that boost of power. If I put it back down to e-mountain bike mode and then pedal hard, it automatically puts me up to the turbo. But if you're wanting to take it easy, maybe get to work without being too hot and sweaty, then you could put it into turbo. You don't have to pedal that hard to have it automatically go into turbo, which you need to do in the e-mountain bike mode. The other scenario where you may not want to use the e-mountain bike mode would be if you're really trying to conserve your battery. So you're coming up a hill like that, pedaling hard, but you don't want it to be in turbo. You know, then you can put it in Tour, for example. No matter how hard you pedal, it's still just going to give you Tour level of assistance, so it's going to give you more range. But apart from those two scenarios where you want, you know, better battery life or not have to pedal as hard, really, mountain bike mode is a great mode to ride in. So far the bike itself, a lot of fun, enjoying the travel, the suspension here, nice smooth ride. You know, it's summer, summer, so it's dry and dusty. Lots of loose gravel here, but nothing wet or muddy to try it out in. But with these plus-size tires, I really don't anticipate any problems. Nice smooth shifts. I do like the bi-directional shifters here. Yeah, this is the medium frame. There are 3 sizes, a small, medium, and a large frame size. About 6 feet. I would probably be inclined maybe to go with the large. But this medium is a lot of fun. I don't feel cramped. I do feel fairly upright. It's got a little bit of a shorter reach. Very agile, easy to throw the bike around. Yeah, I do find this e-mount bike mode actually, I really like not having to change the levels, because, you know, sometimes I'd move it up to sport a turbo for a hill and then forget at the top and then kind of kill my battery. I mean, it's a 500 watt-hour battery, so you've got lots and lots of range. If you're planning on riding all day, you do want to keep that in mind. So it's nice that it automatically adjusts. I'm actually finding with the mountain bike mode, to some degree, I'm actually getting a better workout because I pedal harder to get it up into that turbo on hills instead of manually changing it. Obviously, I could manually change it if I wanted to. But, you know, it's kind of fun giving you that extra power on the pedals and it responding. And I think maybe that's a good description of the mountain bike mode, is it is just fun. Yeah, nice crisp shifts, which is nice. The Bosch system does have shift detection, which is great, so it eases off. In fact, it cuts the power to the drive system momentarily when you're shifting, so you're not wearing out your chains and derailleur as quickly. Exceed the 32km/h cutoff. That's both a federal and provincial requirement for e-bikes in Canada. There are ways to overcome that use of speedometers for off-road use, but that can also impact your warranty. Anyways, when you get to that 32, it just kind of eases you out, and I really don't notice any extra resistance above that when the motor's not assisting, so it just rides like a regular bike, which is nice. Okay, had to stop for a phone call there, which is always a terrible thing to do on a ride. So I've got a hill here and test out these Magura MT5 brakes on the front. They actually have dual pistons, which gives tons of stopping power. So really, the specs they put on this bike, you know, really lets you do pretty much anything you'd want. with the bike. You could use it. It's a pretty good downhill bike with those brakes. You're not going to see any fading. See lots of control. 11 to 2.8 inch plus size tires. Lots of traction, stability, control without being unwieldy. More agility than you can get on a fat bike. A similar amount of traction. Of course, it's not going to work in snow. That's where you do need a fat bike. I've tried it, it doesn't work. You'll sink right into the 2.8s. But for everything else, it actually works out really well. So yeah, no problem on that hill there. Lots of control. I do like, you know, I think in a way the dual piston brakes, the MT5s, maybe a bit of overkill. But it's nice to have that. Just knowing you've got stopping power when you need it. Being a mountain bike, it doesn't come with a belt. So if you are using it as a commuter bike, you may want to add a belt to it. Also, as a commuter bike, they're obviously not fenders. You can put on some kind of temporary removable fenders, or some that go into the fork. For a seat post, you'd kind of be stuck with, for a rack, you'd be stuck with the seat post quick release rack. There are rack mounting points. Lots of people out on the trail today, so maybe I'll cut this short. I need to get to the store anyways. This is part of my commute, actually. Sure, I could go on roads, but this is way more fun. So anyways, I'll drop out of the trail here, get back over to the store. For more information on this bike, come try it out, contact us over to our website at citruscycles.ca. We'll do some bonus footage for commuting. Hills like this on your commute. This is a great bike. I am really liking these very quickly and confidently to a stop. Where I missed my bell. Like I said, I could take the streets to work, but when you've got views like this on trails like this, why would you? And that's the great thing about an e-bike compared to driving. It's funny, I don't drive that much anymore, and I find myself having to be careful when I do drive because I want to take the shortcuts or the scenic views that I take on my bike, and I can't do that in a vehicle. Beautiful morning here at Transfer Beach. Probably not going to buy a full suspension mountain bike with 150 millimeters of travel. But if you're wanting to go out on the weekend, hit the trails, this is a great bike. And if you're commute during the week, feature something like this road, a lot of potholes, broken pavement, well, it's going to be a lot smoother on this bike than a hardtail commuter bike. Also, it's going to give you more control and confidence. Check out my video on the recent Mueller D-Lite, for example. One of the really neat things that recent Mueller is doing is they're recognizing the fact that when you have full suspension, both wheels are on the ground all the time. It gives you more control over the bike. So if I were on a hardtail, you know, whether it be a commuter bike or a mountain bike, on that section of trail or road, seems like a trail, but it is a road. I'd be slowing down. You know, I wouldn't be hitting 30. I'd be speeding up, slowing down, and on a busy road, that actually can make you a bit of a hazard for traffic. You can keep a steady, predictable pace, not swerving around potholes and things like that. You're going to be a lot safer, and that's one of the nice things about the full suspension bike. Is not only gives you that comfort, but it gives you that control and stability, and it's a lot of fun to ride. Alright, well, I think that's the end of the ride test for the Bosch 650 Plus E FS3. I'm Kelly with Citrus Cycles. Be happy to answer any questions you have. Head on over to our website at citruscycles.ca.